episode 291 of Navigating Now, Designing for Real Connection. I'm Madison Miller, an associate consultant here at Thoughtium, and I'm joined today by Amanda Lobo, Thoughtium's VP of People. Amanda, how are you doing today?
Hi, so glad to be here with you.
Awesome. Well, today we are diving into all things offsite. As you may have seen on our LinkedIn page, Thoughtium just got back from our annual offsite experience. And so we're going to dive in and peel back the layers and talk about it. We have a little bit of a dueling perspective. I, as a newcomer, first time on the company offsite, and Amanda, as someone who has executed and attended all 4 of Thoughtium's offsites to date.
Yeah. And Madison, this wasn't just your first Thoughtium offsite. This was your first corporate team offsite, right? So this is like
Correct.
totally fresh perspective. Yeah, exciting.
Yeah, so we kind of got both ends of the spectrum today.
Certainly do.
Yeah, so let's dive into it. Let's just give them a little recap of what our experience was like this past week.
Yeah. I think I've been on this platform before, kind of talking about the formula for building really meaningful in-person team experiences. And this offsite, kind of like anytime we gather our team, is we're always looking to strike that right balance of business and connection and collaboration. So if you looked at our agenda this year, you would see those 3 things come through pretty prominently. So how that's expressed maybe more tactically, we arrive, we have an awesome welcome dinner. We kind of set the tone for the week of what we can expect. This year, it was a big celebration of our 10-year anniversary, which was so fun to kick off that way. Typically, we wake up in the mornings, there's a little bit of coffee and connection, people kind of starting to gather. We got some movement with some yoga and sound journey because our team is really into that sort of thing. You might have found some people up early in the gym, which was cool to see. And then we created space for our business on both day 2 and day 3. And then on either side of that, it's just our ability to be in connection. So we got to go off property for a little bit. We also just used the amenities within the property, which the sauna and the cold plunge and just like a really cool fire pit. And so again, just that really unique, fun blend of business, connection, and collaboration. I guess one thing I didn't note in there is there were also pockets where people could just be in the work together. Account teams were getting organized. There were some client calls that happened as well. And so that was really cool just to see people kind of taking what they needed in support of their own well-being, but also in support of kind of what the business needed that week.
Absolutely. Great rundown. I'll add on to that point. I loved being able to see everyone from across the country come in and be in this space together, and we could kind of seamlessly transition from talking about our account projects, what needs to happen next, and then have those connection moments.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool experience to be just fully immersed and together for those 4 days.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, I'm curious, how did this offsite feel compared to the previous offsites Thoughtium has went on?
Man, every year is so different, and it's cool because it really marks a moment in time of the business. So year over year, you have different people. Year over year, you have different storylines within those people. People are experiencing different things personally and professionally within the business. And so it's just really cool, year over year, to see who was there and what was the vibe. How did people leave feeling that offsite from that offsite? I'd say the vibe this year, I'm going to use the word elevated. This was the first year that myself and maybe 1 or 2 other people didn't top to bottom plan every single element of it. We actually chose to go to this beautiful brand new property in New Buffalo, Michigan, called Petite Acres. And it was incredible to partner with one of their co-founders, Gina, to help us bring our experience to life through what she knew she could do to make a great experience. So she kind of helped us curate the food and curate the schedule. And it allowed me to be a little bit more of just a participant than typical. So I would say elevated, and just being on a property where we were the very first corporate team to come spend time there was really cool. I know she's had some weddings and some other groups on the property, but it was really, really fun to try a different format of how we executed the offsite than we have in years prior.
Yeah, for sure. I will add as well, from my perspective, the Petite Acres setup was just perfectly created for moments of intentionality of that connection. There were lots of communal spaces, lots of little pods where people could go off and collaborate and kind of hang out. So it really suited what we needed. We needed a little bit of that workspace collaboration time, and then also space where we could just hang out and
Totally.
meet.
Totally.
So
That
it was a
that
perfect.
was a fan favorite.
It was. It also shielded us from a pretty nasty storm.
Yeah. We didn't have that on the agenda, but we adapted.
We're agile. We're agile.
Yeah.
It's always fun too to just take away all of the core memories and the jokes that we bring back. I think that's a huge just momentum builder into coming back from the offsite. That was one of our inside jokes for sure, or shared moments, that storm.
Totally, totally.
Yes. Yes. Well, awesome. What if you could put one word to that feeling, what did you come back to work feeling like after this offsite?
One word. Can I give you two words? Because they're kind of different feelings. I'd say the first word is connected. So just having the chance to be face to face and in conversation, or even in the business with people that I don't get to see on a day-to-day basis. I always leave these feeling more connected to our people, which is really special. I'd say secondly is, this is kind of maybe a little silly and simple, but just excited. We had the chance to spend some time looking back on our business over the last couple of years, and through the lens of where we're headed. And I love that we're solving new problems, unique problems that are, or challenges, I guess, rather, is a better word, that are just different than they were a year ago or 18 months ago. I get really excited about that because it means we're growing. It means that we're evolving as a team and an organization. So connected and really excited to solve for the next thing. And for me personally, just to continue to make sure that our team and our people strategy is connected to where we're headed next.
Absolutely. I love that you offered two words. I'm glad you did that.
We never play inside the rules of these prompts, do we?
We're creative. I would say my word is recharged. I just think being around the people that make the work so awesome and impactful just recharges my battery in all aspects. It makes the work more fun. It makes the connection moments even better. So just being in person gave me that momentum boost to come back with a new excitement, I feel like.
Yeah. And for someone like you, you're like not even quite 90 days in yet. So in your first couple of months, you're on site currently in Chicago. So you do get some good face time with our local team. I have to imagine, but would love to hear from you, that it gave you just even deeper context into like who everybody is, what they do, how they contribute to the bigger picture, and also gives you just like a different lens to our business, which I think is important. And I think that's true no matter how long you've been here. But I'm curious for you, as a newcomer, a new joiner of the team, what was that experience like?
Yeah, very valuable. That's something I definitely walked away feeling like I got a lot of knowledge just from different people, especially from across the country. We have people spanning both coasts, and so getting everyone in person and then spending that extended period of time together felt so important to my onboarding process and to my contextual knowledge of the firm. A lot of those just like elbow share moments when we were going through different content pieces and programming of the actual offsite, people would turn and share something, and it would help me build this conceptual map to deeper connect to the work we're doing and the just context of the firm and where we're going. So I think that was a huge unintended takeaway of just being in a shared space like that and creating that space like we attempt to do. So I think that would be my take on that.
I love that. Love to hear that.
Yeah. Well, with that, I kind of hinted at more of the programming and things that we did behind the scenes. I'd love to move into hearing a little bit about how you designed this experience and what considerations have gone into it, not just this experience, but in offsites past and offsites in general. So first, what considerations are there when you're designing an experience like an offsite?
Yeah. Well, in this post-COVID world that we live in, many of us are in dispersed teams. Intentional design around how you come together is critical. It's an investment, right? Like when you bring your team into your headquarters or an offsite location, you got to be thoughtful about how you plan for that. So we really value our in-person time. We're constantly telling our clients they need to make this a priority. And so it's something that's important to us to kind of walk the talk as well. I'd say one of the bigger goals for us is that people are kind of walking away with three things. The first is some sort of alignment, people feeling like they've got the same picture of our business, where we're headed, what challenges we're solving, maybe a new perspective that we're bringing forward on where our business is today. The second would be what we've talked a little bit about already, is just that relationship depth. So building on that trust that makes the day-to-day so much easier, that makes collaboration more feasible and just more seamless. And then lastly, I'd say just like a reminder of the unique role that we all play in this story, right? People leaving thinking and seeing themselves less as one person doing, executing two projects at a time, right? It's much more about them seeing themselves as owners, or as like a specific playing a specific role in the outcomes of our business. So anytime we're designing for designing for our team to come together, I'm kind of thinking about like, how can we make sure our team's more aligned? How can we make sure that connection and relationship building continues to be a strength of ours and continues to be something that sits at the center? And then how can we make sure that our team continues to see themselves as a part of the bigger picture versus us all just head down on like the one or two things that we're super focused on in that moment.
Yeah, I love that. I resonated at every pillar that you were talking about. And it's cool to hear you speak to those things, because I'm looking back at my experience and as you're talking, thinking of how those intentional moments were crafted in almost seamlessly. So you don't feel like necessarily see bright in front of you that this is the goal, but you feel that when you walk away. And it's a very beautiful experience. You mentioned how coming to either Thoughtium headquarters or an offsite, getting your whole team together is an investment, and it's one that is not made lightly. So I would love to know, what balance, when you bring your team together, especially on an offsite, do you strike? What considerations are there between programming, fun, team bonding events, and actually getting down and working on the business?
I mean, working on the business is fun, right?
Absolutely. If you're watching this, I do think it's fun. I promise.
We have to make that disclaimer. In being serious, I do think that a common mistake that leaders can make is treating it like a dial between fun and work, right? The business and the culture are not two separate ideas or concepts, right? Our belief is that they're one and the same. And the closer that those are together, the better the business is served and the better your people are going to be served. So I'll give our audience a couple examples of like how this was expressed at this year's offsite. So we had two large blocks on day 2 and day 3 for us to come together as a team in some sort of facilitated fashion. So the first one, we spent it focused on the business. This is the one I referenced earlier, where we were taking a retrospective look at our business through the lens of like where we want to go, identifying themes and trends over the last few years and thinking about what that means for us going forward. That was a really awesome session for anyone, from someone new like you, Madison, because you got context that you would have never ordinarily got from leaders that you were sitting alongside in your breakouts, all the way from someone like me to like take the second to zoom out and be like, wow, year over year, this has been consistent, or wow, we really worked out of that specific challenge. So that was a really fruitful exercise for our team. I think everybody left that feeling pretty energized and wanting a lot more of that type of work, which was another great learning for us. So on day 3, then, we still wanted to spend time in the business, but we wanted to take a different approach. This was more of like a team building approach. So it was, shout out to Olivia if you're watching. Olivia's our new business excellence manager. She designed a session for us to come together. We've been organizing around this concept of unreasonable hospitality. We've got a book club, and we've just been really intrigued by what that can look like in a business like ours. And so we created teams, and we had everybody come up with a skit or some sort of performance of a real life client scenario or business scenario, and how they might bring unreasonable hospitality to it. And it ended up being the most hilarious, the most entertaining. I mean, there were standout moments in that block of time together that I will truly never forget. I mean, we were rolling laughing. It was so much fun. And there were like 3 things that we could actually apply to our business tomorrow. So it wasn't just like, trust falls and axe throwing and, playing games and stuff like that. It was super fun like that. It was an opportunity for us to just enjoy each other, but through the lens of the business. So, it was just, I think, a really unique expression of us and our point of view that you can make this time so unique to the DNA of your team. And again, I think it connects back to the ROI comes from the blend of business and culture. They're not two separate things, that they should sit right alongside each other. And business context lands when trust and camaraderie is built alongside of it. So those are two really great expressions of that this year.
Absolutely. I love that. And truly the best example of blending business and fun was that skit activity. Incredible.
So
We saw
fun.
some we saw some great business ideas, but also some really surprisingly good acting performances.
Like, I did not know some of that talent. I've been on here for 5 years. I know this team very, very well. I did not know some of that talent existed on our team. Maybe someday we'll release the tapes.
Yeah. It's moments like that though where truly you get to know people in such a different way and be able to like see them in this new lens. I think that is such a cool opportunity of a space like an offsite.
100%. To now know that Layla can full on rap without the help of AI.
Yeah, we could not use
And to
AI.
know that John is an incredible actor. He's got some acting chops I had no idea about. It's just so fun to like see unique strengths and talents of your team emerge. And again, we still had a couple things come out of that it's like, oh, we could literally bring that forward tomorrow. So
Yeah, very cool. And I'll share too, you mentioned that first day activity when we were kind of deeper into the ideation space of how we could transform our business and looking retrospectively on years past. I think for me, that was one of the biggest takeaways I'm taking back from my entire onboarding experience thus far. Being able to sit at a table of senior leaders and hear them talk about the business over year and why certain things were happening when we're looking at the actual data. That was
yeah,
very powerful all around. And so being able to have the space to take a step back from the work of the day to day and look at the business through a new lens is something I'm definitely taking back.
yeah, and for sure, like the decks that we used in that conversation, it's like you have access to those, but you wouldn't have gleaned the same insights or learnings without Trevor or Shani in your group
Yeah.
saying, oh yeah, this is actually like what this was like at that moment in time, or
Mhm.
this is how that experience kind of translates into today. So yeah, it was a shout out to our CEO Griff for designing that session, because it was remarkably effective, and our team is certainly asking for more of that type of conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was fun. I mean, every group came up with different ways to approach different things, but they all kind of had the same through line. So
Mhm.
seeing that creativity and presented out after we had that conversation was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, diving into an impact that an offsite has on a team, what in your experience have you seen as people come back? What have been the positive impacts of this offsite experience? I know you spoke a little bit to what you're designing for and what you'd hope the team would take away, but what have you seen in this lens?
I want to throw this one back on you. I want you to answer this
Woo!
one first.
All right.
I'll answer it, but like, what impact? I'm curious for you. Your first one, you're getting to know this team, you're getting to know our business. What impact did it have on you?
Yeah. Ooh, there's a lot. I think starting with the given, just being able to connect with people outside of just talking about the work is so powerful in a business context as well. Being able to open those lines of communication with people from all corners of Thoughtium and also my account team, knowing them on a more personal level, I think that has transformed how I've messaged them on the day to day, how we interact, and how we then move forward and serve clients. So I think that's one takeaway I have. Another was just ideating creative ideas around the business. I think, like we said, taking that step back and being able to see things from a different perspective and hear different voices rather than just me in my head doing my work. I
Yeah.
think that was incredible. I think the last thing I really took away was just this overwhelmingly positive energy. It's such a blessing to be surrounded by such talented and just awesome people. And so feeling that collective sense of connectedness really moved me forward and inspired me as we came back. And I think that's just a fun, nice feeling to have as you go about your day-to-day work in the second half of the year.
Yeah, I love that. I appreciate you sharing that reflection. I think similarly for me, right?
Mhm.
Every year I see, um, how people come off of these offsites. I think there's different versions of how that's manifested depending on how we spend the time. Again, depending on where the business is. I've certainly seen in year one. I actually think that offsite was the catalyst for the culture that we have today. We did some really cool team building sessions that helped us reflect what we see in each other, and I think a lot of trust was built in that moment, and set the tone for the team that we are today, which was really special. I've also seen individual but very, very powerful ahas come out of offsites like this, right? Getting in a room with an account team, or getting in a room with someone that they don't get to work with, and talking about something that they might be challenged with, internally or externally, and seeing like that aha click. Or getting inspired to do something that maybe they weren't doing or weren't able to do before. I think there's all sorts of different like micro versions of that then add up to a much larger kind of impact for the business. Connection's an obvious one. I mean, especially our team, like we come up with that feeling like I know our team so well, right? Some of these people I've known for 3 and 4 and 5 years. But I think even I learn a little bit more about how people tick.
Yeah.
These moments, and we all change, we all grow, right? Especially when we've been in this work for years on years, we're evolving humans too. So learning how their life today is changing how they show up at work, I think is important. Changes, the world is spinning faster and faster around us. And so getting the chance to see what and hear, how that's impacting people it was really special too. So I think I see a lot of different expressions of impact, connection being an obvious one. But again, those little aha moments, and the maybe like the light bulbs that people find in the different pockets of our time together are really impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited myself too, as we go along, see what pulled through and what came to fruition because of what we ideated around and spent time discussing. I think that is a cool thing to look forward to.
For sure.
Well, from your lens of VP of People, you've done all things offsite, all things culture. So, is there a misconception that might be surrounding offsites that you'd like to share? Maybe a leader's on the fence. Maybe someone doesn't even know what goes down at a company offsite. What would you say a misconception is around an offsite? And let's hear your take.
A misconception. I kind of mentioned it earlier, of just like that it either has to be all fun or it has to be all business, and that like that they can't coexist, or they shouldn't coexist. I think that's one. I think maybe, what's another one? I'm trying to think of something different from the one I shared earlier. I think a lot of leaders can underestimate, because we often, especially like in a services business, like our time is really valuable, right? And so you think about like, oh man, our entire team being out of the work for 2 full days, and then a half day for travel on either side. It's like, man, that's an expensive investment on top of the actual money it takes to pull off the offsite. And I think like leading with that thinking is a huge mistake. Because again, all of the ahas, all of the connection built, like that is powering your business. That's powering where you need to get to next. And so I think simply thinking of it as a dollars and cents thing, or my team is out of the work for X amount of time and that's costing us more than it's worth, is a huge misconception that I think we got to reframe for leaders on like what they're actually getting from this time together.
I love that. And like, from my perspective, there's an appreciation for leadership that takes the time to invest in our culture and in these moments, in this shared connection together. And then there's appreciation from our clients too. Like we walk what we talk, we bring that same energy when we work with clients and we explore offsites and different learning experiences with them. It's cool to be able to reference the investment that our team has made in us as well. So I love that.
Maybe one more too that just kind of dawned on me for like a leader that might be sitting on an exec team of a team of people. Like we might also as leaders assume like this is just for the team. It's just to invest in the team. But if you immerse yourself appropriately as a leader in those experiences, there can be so much benefit for you to step back and zoom out and see what's happening across your team, to get more connected, or get some good face time with people that you might not ordinarily. So I think sometimes like we make these investments and we plan them through the lens of like what our team is going to get out of it, but also don't forget that like you as a leader can get so much out of this if you're thoughtful about how you're spending the time as well.
Yeah, that's cool to hear you speak to some of like the unexpected hidden ROI that comes out of these experiences.
100%.
Super cool. Well, if another people leader in that same vein is looking into planning an offsite or some sort of experience, what is maybe one piece of advice you would give them to start?
Yeah. I say use the formula: business, connection, collaboration. Look at the time that you have. Where do those pockets fit? And then kind of alongside that, design backwards from your end goal. Okay. So if you have a team that is maybe running a little dysfunctional, communication and collaboration are struggling, right? Maybe you need to spend more time in the collaboration connection space and a little bit less time solving for a piece of your strategy. Maybe you've got a team that's super connected and your business is growing and more dynamic than ever. Maybe you should spend a little bit more time on the business. So figure out what your end goal is. What do you want that team feeling on Monday when they return, and work backwards from that. But I think no matter what you're designing for, those three elements should be present in some fashion, and just dial them up and down based on what your team needs. And if you don't feel like you've got the skills to design it thoughtfully, like find a partner who does. You know, we love designing and delivering these experiences. We've also tapped into external help to do it for us in moments that like we were focused on other things and we wanted to partner with someone. And so don't feel like you always have to figure it all out top to bottom yourself. Find the right partner. And again, the investment can be a massive unlock for your team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think going back to what you said about a leader being able to be fully immersed in this environment, in that experience, sometimes reaching outside vendors can help facilitate that experience for you. I know I've heard that from clients as well. So very cool to hear that.
Rarely do leaders get a chance to just like be in it. And usually they're leading and they're facilitating and they're focused on everybody else's experience. So to be a participant in it is really special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely a perspective I had not considered, as more of on the participant side, just experiencing this. There's kind of two sides to the coin in terms of what you're getting out of an experience like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, I'm trying to think. I want to leave you with one like shebang question. Maybe wrap us up today. So you kind of alluded to this in the beginning, but if you had to assign a feeling to what you would want a team member to leave with in the ideal offsite, what feeling would you choose?
Okay, I'm going to play within the rules of the prompt this time. I've used this word a lot on this call, so I'm going to say it and then I'm going to explain what I mean by it, because you're like, okay, we get it, connection, but I would say connected. And that has like multiple meanings. So connected to themselves, the role that they play, who they are, how they're contributing to the greater success, connected to their teammates and the people that they're working alongside every day. And, connected to the business and the unique role that they're playing on a day-to-day basis. So connected.
Love that. Absolutely.
Well, what would your word be?
Ooh, oh, dang it. You stole mine. That's so great. I'm going to not play within the confines of my own question and say part of seeing the bigger picture, feeling part of something larger than yourself.
Yeah.
Play off of yours a little bit. Yeah, I think that was something that I left with and something you alluded to throughout today. And I think that would be the feeling that I would want to leave with. Awesome. Well,
seeing the bigger picture, one word.
Yes. We like to do that a lot at Thoughtium, adding the hyphens to fit the confines.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for joining us, everyone, today for our episode on offsites and designing with intention and connection in mind. Again, I'm Madison Miller, this is Amanda, and you can view more of our episodes on thougtium.com/live. See you next week.